Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Molly Hudson. Thank you for joining us. Arizona COVID-19 testing is seeing a record increase with around 30,000 people being tested daily. Embry Health is one of the companies providing testing locations across the valley, and they are seeing the highest need for testing to date. CEO of Embry Health, Raymond Embry, shared that they have a staffing shortage. He says some employees are becoming infected with COVID-19 themselves. With this testing increase, Embry is asking the governor for help by providing National Guard troops. You may remember troops helped at mass vaccination sites around the state and helped first responders and essential workers as well. Arizona health officials are reporting the highest number of new COVID-19 cases in a year. Monday's 14,000 new cases were the most ever tallied in a day, except for January 3rd, 2020, when more than 17,000 cases were counted. The State Department of Health Services says the new case count was boosted by lower than normal counts on Sunday, when just 700 new cases were reported. The state did say there has been a steep upward trend in cases in recent days. The state reported no new deaths on Monday and just one on Sunday, bringing the total number of pandemic deaths to more than 24,000. The Navajo Nation's Tribal Council has voted to send $2,000 checks to each qualified adult and $600 for each child using federal coronavirus relief funds. The council's vote to send the checks to about 350,000 tribal members was approved last week by Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez. The approval came during a special session of tribal lawmakers. The tribe is receiving around $2.1 billion from President Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan Act. The payments will be automatically sent to tribal members living on or off the reservation who applied for relief funds under a previous round of hardship assistance payments. Darrell Noon has been sworn in as the Navajo Police Department's new chief. Noon replaces Philip Francisco, who resigned in November to become the chief of the Bloomfield Police Department in New Mexico. Noon was born in Fort Defiance, Arizona, and previously resided in Shiprock, New Mexico. He has served as the Navajo Nation's deputy police chief since January 2019. He has more than 23 years' experience on the force in other cities. When you think of the Phoenix metro area, you probably think very dry and warm. However, Maricopa County has the largest flood control network not just in the country, but in the entire world. Evan Liss explores how it protects us when the rain comes to the desert.
Arizona and Maricopa County in particular are well known for their abundant year-round sunshine. However, when it does rain here, flooding can quickly occur.
It doesn't take all that much rain to start causing flooding problems. We have a lot of topography here. So we have steep slopes from mountains going down in the valley regions. We have several major waterways that all flow through the Phoenix area.
In times like these, county officials need to know how much rain is falling, where it's falling, and where runoff water is flowing to. This is where the Maricopa County Flood Control District's alert network comes in.
Basic premise behind it is we're pulling in data in real time. That data is being sent from the station back here to flood control, and then we're making that station available.
Available to both the public and government officials who can then make decisions on road closures and evacuations.
So one of the things we really pride ourselves in, though, is being able to take that data and convert it into a digestible and usable piece for folks that are making decisions. We want our response to be proactive, not reactive.
And while a flood control network covering roughly the size of New Jersey provides excellent coverage, maintaining the automatic system is no easy feat.
You're understanding how to get to places, learning trails, learning how to maneuver through mountainous terrains and the snow, and also climbing towers.
But even with all the maintenance challenges, the value of having the system far outweighs the potential for tragedy in its absence.
Main role is just to keep the interactive map going and showing the data. So when we do get 100-year events, 500-year events, you can always go on the internet and look at the map to see where all the rainfall is coming, especially if it's in your side of town. You can tell and get ready and prepare.
In Phoenix, Evan Liss, Cronkite News.
Next time it starts raining near you, you can go to the Maricopa County Flood Control District's website and check out their gauges filling up in real time. And now a look back on some of our top stories concerning safety on the roads.
It's Rail Safety Week, and according to the Federal Railroad Administration, Arizona has some of the highest rail trespass casualties in the country. Cronkite News reporter Carolina Hassett tells us why these numbers are so high.
The Federal Railroad Administration reported over 1,000 pedestrian rail casualties in 2020, 22 of those from right here in Arizona. This ranked Arizona number 14 in the country for total rail trespass casualties. The faint sound of a bell, a sound that alerts many people about approaching trains. However, not everyone hears the warning, causing many trespass accidents, especially with pedestrians.
People with handheld devices, they're focusing on what's in front of them and not where they're walking.
Farler says since so many of Arizona's trains are located in urban areas, the state is seeing an increase in pedestrian trespass casualties.
Cities are growing in metropolitan areas near railroad tracks.
And the light rail system runs through some of the most congested areas of the state.
We operate in a very busy part of the valley in Phoenix, Mesa, and Tempe, and what we see is sometimes people not following the traffic signals.
While the light rail system here in the valley experiences few fatalities, the system shares the road with many vehicles. Valley Metro has safety measures in place to decrease fatalities in collisions.
Our trains have a big bumper, and they're designed to kind of push a car away from them. So that's why we don't really experience those fatalities or major injuries when those collisions occur.
Safety measures like these seem to be working. According to the Operation Lifesaver website, there has been an 82% decline in train motor vehicle collisions.
We've seen a reduction in all vehicle collisions throughout the years, and that's because of grade separations in education.
Casualties are very tragic. I think there just needs to be people paying attention, more information, education, and just following the rules, and that's what's going to help keep us all safe.
Experts encourage the community to remember that an encounter with any kind of rail system can be very serious.
Trains are a lot bigger than you are, so if you get struck by one of those trains, you're in peril for your vehicle and for your life.
When it's a train versus a person, the train's going to win every time.
Some other safety tips from Arizona Operation Lifesaver include staying behind the yellow lines when preparing to enter a rail car, using patience when at railroad crossings, and always being aware of your surroundings. In the newsroom, Carolina Hassett, Cronkite News.
As Arizona transitions out of the pandemic and the return to in-person school and work increases, the roads may seem busier than ever. Reporter Isabella Fredrickson speaks to a traffic expert to find out what's going on.
Stay-at-home restrictions and working remotely has made a huge impact on traffic here in Maricopa County over the past year and a half. Now, as we return to life in person once again, traffic seems to be worse than ever. Wang Zhang, Maricopa Association of Governments Transportation Data Program Manager, shares exactly what is going on.
In the middle of April, we had the lowest of the traffic, which is about 61% comparing to the normal condition of 100%.
Starting in May 2020 is when traffic numbers began to slowly increase. By fall 2020, traffic had recovered to about 85 to 90% of normal conditions.
And we also observed at the beginning of March of this year, 2021, our traffic is fully back to 100% of pre-COVID condition.
While the summer is considered off-season for traffic because many schools are out of session, current traffic has not let up.
What we've noticed that is in the past July and August of 2021, our traffic volume condition is at about 98% comparing to the normal.
As of right now, traffic has increased in terms of number of cars on the road, which is measured by traffic volume. However, MAG also monitors traffic congestion, which is the time you get stuck in traffic.
In that measurements, actually, we're not back to pre-COVID condition yet. At the end of August, the latest, we're still at about 55% of the congestion level as compared to the pre-COVID condition.
Zhang says this is due to two main reasons. People have changed travel patterns and more road projects have been completed. In Phoenix, Isabella Fredrickson, Cronkite News.
The Valley's peak traffic season is fall, and this spring is expected to be even busier than pre-COVID times.
Dirt track racing is one of the most popular forms of racing in the United States, with over 700 tracks in operation today. The sport attracts people from all walks of life. Cronkite News reporter Jack Johnson shows us how these extraordinary drivers are ordinary members of the workforce.
In a floodplain in the northwest corner of Maricopa County sits the Canyon Speedway, a 3/8 of a mile dirt oval which has hosted racing since 1981. Despite its somewhat remote location, families are a common sight at weekend events. For many drivers, including track IMCA modified points champion Guy Norton, racing is what they've known their whole life.
It's just in our blood, you know. Our kids do it, so I'm just kind of one of the old guys at this point, but still in my blood, and you know, that's why we do it.
Maybe to some it could be viewed as a hobby, but for the teams and drivers hauling their racing operations out to the speedway, driving is a hobby, racing is a competitive sport. And with that comes competitive expenses.
Their budgets are large. They'll spend anywhere between $25,000 and $100,000 a year to go race.
The sponsorship money from various businesses help a little, but as stock car driver Jared Wilson knows, a lot of the budget will have to come out of pocket.
Yeah, but there's other guys that really struggle just to, you know, be able to work, you know, 24/7 jobs, and like I said, our business is 24/7.
For the vast majority of drivers that come out here to Canyon Speedway to compete, day jobs during the week is what fuels their passion for racing and funds their ability to come out each and every weekend. And that means on Saturday night, drivers could be holding something like this to holding something like this on Tuesday morning. Away from the track, Wilson trades in his fire suit for his company t-shirt. Unlike some other drivers at Canyon Speedway, the Wilsons did not have a family tree of wheelmen. But to Jared's surprise, he won his father's support.
Didn't think he'd ever kind of be on board, but man, I'll tell you what, when he sees his boy going around that track, it's, you know, it's kind of cool, and I know it's cool to have him there.
Most choose to spend their weekends winding down. For racers, the weekly grind allows them to rev up on the local tracks. Reporting from Peoria, Jack Johnson, Cronkite News.
The next event at Canyon Speedway is Championship Weekend, October 15th and 16th. 7 classes of race cars will compete that weekend for their respective titles.
Despite cooler weather as we enter into the fall, temperatures outside are still very hot, especially in areas where there are fewer trees and grass. Reporter Isabella Fredrickson shares what the city of Phoenix is doing to cool down these areas, and it starts with the roads.
Over the summer, the city of Phoenix had piloted different formulas to see how they could help cool down our roads. Today, the city is moving into phase 2 of their Cool Pavement pilot program.
We did 9 projects throughout the city, and now we want to take that pilot label off, go citywide, and continue to invest in additional projects. We've tried parking lots, neighborhoods, and more dense city streets. We've gotten good results in all of them. We're going to look at different coatings of different colors to see what lasts the longest and produces the best results.
The coating will go over asphalt, which, while durable, holds in the heat.
Asphalt is a very absorbent material, and over the course of the day, the heat is absorbed into that asphalt, and at night when you're trying to get the break from the heat of the day is when, you know, most people are trying to escape the heat. That asphalt is slowly evaporating heat, and so when it's supposed to be cool at night, all the heat from that asphalt that has been stored throughout the day is now radiating out.
So far, with all of the testing and teamwork between the City of Phoenix, ASU, and GuardTop Sustainability, results have been good, prompting this next step.
Our residents told us they want us to look for solutions that make Phoenix more comfortable, particularly in the summer. We think Cool Pavement could do just that. 10 degrees cooling is a big deal. The streets department is also very interested because the streets are getting to be a lower temperature, and that may mean that they will last longer. So not only could it make our neighborhoods more comfortable, but fewer potholes.
It was exciting to see that not only are we getting temperature differences on the top of the asphalt, but the full depth of the asphalt is cooler.
In Phoenix, Isabella Fredrickson, Cronkite News.
During the next phase, researchers will analyze 2 new asphalt coverings to see if temperatures can be reduced even more and see how durable the coating really is. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. Next on Break It Down, a common goal for the new year is losing weight. But how do we find safe and healthy ways to achieve it? We break it down next. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I'm the greatest that they've ever seen.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
Break It Down is brought to you in part by Mayo Clinic and viewers like you.
So it's a new year and a new you, right? So around 50% of all Americans have made 2021 resolutions to eat healthier, healthier habits, and lose weight. Yet we know that actually figuring out how to do so and getting the right information is a little bit tougher. So today we have Dr. Amy Shaw to break it down on how to find that accurate, safe, and evidence-based information to lose some of that pandemic weight and get healthier. So welcome, Dr. Shaw. There is so much information out there. How do we navigate through this?
First of all, Fatma, thank you so much for having me today. And it is true, it is a $33 billion industry, the diet industry. And every year people, resolve to change their diet. And as you know, most people are not successful, but it's a huge industry. And the problem is there is no regulation on it. We cannot tell evidence-based information from someone's opinion. So that, I think, makes it very, very difficult. And I really urge people to either go directly to scientific information or find a source of someone you trust that is examining the information for you.
And so what kind of scientific information, what type of websites should people look for? Because it feels like we are inundated with this information and this messaging. And by the way, especially for women, right? So how do we kind of wade through it? Where do you suggest looking for this information?
Women are highly targeted by the diet industry, and for good reason. We spend money every year on diet products or diet plans or things of that nature, usually I tell people that find some trusted sources, maybe a physician that you trust, a nutritionist that you trust. And if you'd like to go straight to the source, PubMed is a great search engine for scientific literature right there at your fingertips. One of the nice places I like is Science Daily, ScienceDaily.com, because what they do is that they pick out only the top articles when you do a search. So you're not finding peripheral articles that may not be, their Google search is very, very good for scientific articles. So I think that's a great place to start. If you're wondering, what is intermittent fasting? What is the keto diet? Maybe the best place to go is the primary literature and not websites that come up right on Google.
So that's really helpful. And you just said some words that ding, 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 we're hearing a lot about, right? So intermittent fasting, keto, lose 10 pounds in 5 days, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk us through sort of what are some healthy habits? What are some healthy approaches? And what are some maybe less than healthy diets and approaches that we should be thinking about?
Such a great question. Intermittent fasting is the most Googled diet of 2019. Keto is the most Googled diet of 2020. So there we go. We mentioned the two top ones right there. A lot of what I think about is what is sustainable, what is going to get you through 3, 5, 8 years from now, not something that's going to lose weight quick, in 1 week and then you're back at square one. I don't like diets that you have to white knuckle through. So for example, intermittent fasting can mean many, many things to many people. It's kind of like saying exercise, exercise to be healthy. But what does that even mean? Does that mean fast for 24 hours? Does that mean fast for 12 hours? So the rule of thumb I like for intermittent fasting is to match it with circadian rhythms. So circadian rhythm science is burgeoning in the last 5 years. In 2017, the Nobel Prize in Medicine went to the science behind circadian rhythms and how it controls our genome. We think that 80% of genes have a day-night pattern. So if you time your food intake with kind of day and night pattern, so maybe stopping food, a little bit after 6 or 7, and not eating 2 to 3 hours before bed, and then fasting overnight, 12 hours. In fact, normal Americans eat 15 hours a day. So even fasting for 12 hours is a big healthful step. And then you eat in the morning when kind of the sun is out and get some sunlight, get some nature time, follow those daily circadian rhythms which your cells are already attuned to. So that's a good rule of thumb for that. With keto, it's more difficult because there's also a lot of definitions of what keto is. I mean, you can buy keto ice cream for God's sake. So you really want to do your research. In my opinion, and you can, read all the research that I'm seeing about keto really does not support it as a long-term strategy for healthy weight loss and metabolic parameters. I think it's one of those things that you can learn from, meaning like take out sugar in your diet. That's very, very good advice, but you don't need to go all the way keto.
Okay. And so that's really helpful, when we're thinking about especially dieting, right? I think many of us are just not sure how to change our diets. And especially during this pandemic, it's been really tough to eat healthy. I know we've talked about, sort of the COVID-19 pounds that so many people have gained. So what are sort of in your opinion, best diets or best nutritional practices that we can really be thinking about? And as you just mentioned, not white knuckling it, but really from a long-term sustainable perspective.
One of the things we've learned this pandemic is the importance of being outdoors. I don't think we realized how important it is to get nature time, not only because it reduces the spread of COVID-19, but because it's really good for our psyche. During this time, I think a lot of people realized that the best way to manage their mood and to get some exercise was to go outside. In fact, there's a study that shows that 120 minutes per week seems to be the magic number for nature time. So I recommend that you get some nature time every single day and you add up to 120 minutes a week or more if you can. And if you can time it with those circadian rhythms, it's even better, meaning getting some sunlight between the hours of waking and noon so you can reset that inner clock. It can be even more beneficial. The second thing I would tell people is get a lot of NEAT exercise. What that is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So what that means is not going to a spin studio, because most of us can't do that right now, but getting that exercise that goes from, walking across the parking lot, instead of, talking on the phone, sitting on your desk, maybe you take it for a walk. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis is huge in improving our health. In fact, some of the most longest living people in the world don't do, classic exercise classes that we do in the Western world. They're just, walking to their friend's house. They're spending a lot of time moving. So that would be number 2. And number 3, the biggest needle mover in health is always food. And I think in the beginning of the pandemic, I think a lot of us tried to cook at home and we're experimenting with home ingredients. And then it kind of turned into Uber Eats and all of the processed foods that come with, buying packaged and being convenient. So I think one of the things we have learned over the last 100 years is that the fresher the food, the less packaged, the less ingredients in that box, if you are buying a box, the better it is.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah.
Thanks for having me.
This hour of local news is made possible by contributions from the Friends of PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you. If you have comments about Arizona PBS News, please contact us at one of the addresses on your screen. Thank you.